am Sid, and this is the Men in Verse. And today we are joined with our old friend Sarthak to discuss a bit of football because football season is right around the corner and the World Cup is upon us. So, in order to discuss everything football, welcome Sarthak. Hi Sarthak, how are you?
I said, how are you? It's great to be back here.
I am good, yeah. Long time after that Messi
It's
episode.
been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, we have not recorded anything, which is sad. But,
That's right.
But it's okay. We should record. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things which have happened.
I think now the F1 season's ending, so you'll get more time to cover football and other sports.
Yes, and not just that, this is also the first time we are doing a video format for the channel, and let's see how it turns out to be. And मजा आना
Sure,
चाहिए.
of course.
ठीक है.
बिल्कुल, definitely, yeah.
World Cup is upon us. 22nd, if I'm not wrong, the World Cup start. No, 20th.
No, I 20th. It's starting on the 20th.
20th.
Some countries 20th and 21st depends on the time zone, and goes till 20th of December.
So, about 1 month. This is, I think, the first time the World Cup is getting over in a month. Normally, it stretches on for around one and a half.
Yeah, I think the reason for that being that this is the first time this is happening in the month of November and December. Reason being, it's held up in Qatar this time, and generally it happens at the duration of the summers, where the summers are generally there all over the world. That's right. But since Qatar has a very extreme weather, so I think because of that they had to put this World Cup in between the ongoing football season, I guess. So I think that's why they're trying to submit it early.
And I noticed one thing, that because of the FIFA World Cup, many other sporting events have been cut short, or they have been forced to finish before the World Cup starts, because everybody all the attention will be on the World Cup.
Exactly. So I think, as we discussed in our last podcast as well, that since football is the most followed sport in the world, so I think to accommodate that, of course, the other sports have also been affected with this, and there are other interesting things also happening in this World Cup, I think, which we'll cover in the coming time of our discussion.
Yes.
So I think this should be very interesting.
First time World Cup is being held in Qatar, and
first time,
if I'm not wrong, they built stadiums specifically for the World Cup. They didn't have stadiums.
Of course, they did. They built stadiums. They built entire cities. They're calling it football cities and fan cities.
Like we had for
entire cities.
Like we had for
the Olympics games. And all we have.
Olympic villages,
for Commonwealth games also we had. That's true. So they're trying to build a football environment in Qatar. So let's see how it goes. But nevertheless, of course, the fans from all over the world will travel, and it's football.
I have noticed one thing, most of these sports are slowly migrating towards Middle East. Like Formula 1 is having a lot of races in the Middle East. Football is migrating to the Middle East. We have cricket also migrating to the Middle East, and partly it can be because a lot of money is there in the Middle East.
Partly?
Mostly.
Do you really think partly?
Definitely. But I think money is a very big factor. But it's good. It's good.
I think they've got the resources, both financially as well as geographically, to fulfill it up. They're trying to do the whatever is best for the sports, I guess. And so hope to see more of it, I guess.
It's also good for, I think, tourism for the country and everything also.
Yeah, keeping everything in mind. That's true.
Yeah. So without any further ado, I'm pretty sure most of the viewers would be fairly accustomed with football, what football is and how it is played, how the World Cup is done and everything. I sadly don't know much about it. I am one of those.
I think you be a little modest. I think you know more than you say.
Yeah, I just know that there are 11 players on each team. They kick a ball, and the team.
I think we covered that.
We covered that. We covered that. But so the World Cup format is
the basics
different.
of it.
Yeah. So we'll discuss history of the World Cup, the World Cup format. So football 101, World Cup 101.
Sure.
We'll discuss about the groups and everything, the top teams and underdogs and whatnot. And it's going to be fun. So let's start with the history of the World Cup. When did it start?
Okay.
Oh,
so
you're
let's
wearing a
not get
FIFA
into...
23 t-shirt as well.
Of course. Why not?
Sadly, not sponsored by EA Games, but one day maybe.
yeah, one day.
Anyway,
and let me tell you, this is the last collab of EA and FIFA.
Oh, really?
And from the next year, EA and FIFA are not bringing a game together. They'll be separate entities. So this is the last collab.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I got to know something more. Okay, let's start with the history of the World Cup.
Yeah. So I think let's not get into statistics that much and bore our listeners that much. We'll just discuss the basics of it. Like FIFA World Cup, as you know, is it's the most largest followed event in the world. And since football has the most followers in the world, so of course the viewership gets the highest views for the World Cup and the finals as well. And this has been almost a 90-year-old tournament, more than 90 years, started in 1930. And more than 79 teams have participated, and more than 6 continents, and only 8 teams have won so far. So you should know how competitive this tournament is.
Since the inception of the World Cup, only 8 teams have won.
Only 8 teams. Around 22 or 23 times this World Cup has been held. I don't remember exactly. I think 22. And only 8 teams have won. So you should know how competitive and how tough this sport is. But still, every year, every other team tries to qualify and, makes the best of them. And every year, every World Cup, we get to see some or the other surprises or underdogs. So, and once you get into the game, there's no looking back, right?
Yeah, because I don't know, something about the World Cup. I like to follow the World Cup. I like to follow the teams. For whatever reason it might be, I've always liked Portugal. It's not primarily because of Cristiano. No, genuinely, not primarily because of Cristiano.
Yeah,
I like their jersey. I like their jersey.
Yeah.
And I have been following them.
That's true.
I always hope that they win a World Cup. My hopes have never been fulfilled till now. I hope it gets fulfilled this time. It should
never
be.
Know.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know how strong the team is. So speaking of teams, which has been one of the most successful teams in the World Cup history.
Right. So as I told you, only 8 teams have won so far. The most successful team has been Brazil, of course. There's no surprises there. They've won the cup 5 times. They've been the most successful teams. And after that comes Germany and Italy. They've won 4 times each.
Okay.
So these are the 3 most successful teams. And then again, Argentina is there. They won twice. Germany is there. And other teams are as well. But yeah, I think Brazil is the most successful team so far.
What about England?
Once
they have?
They've just won once. Yeah, they've won once. And that's why I think if you remember the last Euro, they were like, it's coming home. I think we discussed this as well. So that's what they mean by it's coming home. That it's coming back home.
That's what
they're trying to say.
They have already won the Cricket World Cup. They might
have
be... They won the Cricket World Cup 50 over what?
Oh, I'm talking about today. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the current status is.
Okay.
Last I checked.
Let's not get into it. That will be another sport then.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's true. So yeah, they've won it once. Spain has won it once. Uruguay has won, I think, twice.
Oh.
So yeah, these were not underdogs, and these have been successful teams in their eras. So yeah, World Cup is pretty competitive, and you will see the teams who have won it have had a really good squad depth and a really good, commitment to win whenever they won. They never won by fluke.
Okay.
Which happens in some other sports. It does happen, but not here, because you need a very strong team, and
you need consistency. The team needs to gel well together.
That's right.
You need to be your strengths should be really strong, and you need to minimize your weaknesses. And also, I think the managers
100%.
also play a lot of role in this. They need to have. So it is a proper team game.
I think the biggest challenge for the managers and the coaches is most of the year, like 80% of the year, these players play in their particular clubs, and they just come for the friendlies and the qualifiers and for tournaments like these in the World Cup. So, building their team chemistry in a very short span of time is a bigger challenge for a national team manager rather than a club manager. So yeah, of course they have a big role to play, and there have been successful managers. So
nice.
yeah, of course. And I think when you were talking about the events, since we are discussing about the history, I think this is one of the most interesting sports where people who don't even follow, but they must have heard of some particular events which happened in the World Cups. So
one I know is Hand of God.
So that's where I'm going, is that only I'll try to say 3 or 4 events, and you tell me how many events do you know. So we'll get to know how much famous
how good I know football. Yeah.
How good you know the events, that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
You might have not seen the match, but you must have heard of the event, I'm pretty sure. So you mentioned is the Hand of God in the finals, which Argentina won. It was 86, I guess.
Yes.
Which was Maradona.
Maradona.
Yeah. How much do you remember the Ronaldo's haircut? The original Ronaldo, the OG
Ronaldo. Japan-Korea World Cup. I think it was held in Japan and South Korea. 2002.
It was held in 2002.
2002.
Yeah, that's right.
And he had that half moon world haircut.
That's right.
Entire bald. So yeah, that you can never forget that. I'll never forget that.
You can't. Okay. How about you remember Zidane headbutting someone in a final?
That actually costed him the medal as well, if I'm not wrong. They give a medal. Yeah. So
and as Italy won the World Cup as well. Yeah. So costed them the World Cup as well.
So
red card because of the red card. Yeah.
Red card, yeah. So and if I'm not wrong, Zidane was the captain. If I'm not wrong.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, so
I have to check.
Yeah, so
but he was, of course, a prominent part of the squad.
Yeah.
Because he's a legend, of course, nonetheless. Right.
So
and one more incident comes to mind. So there was this one more incident where Suarez bit a player called Giorgio Chiellini.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what I'm trying to say is you might not have followed these World Cups, but you know all these events, right?
That happened in the World Cup.
That happened in the World Cup, yeah. This happened in the 14 World Cup. 2014, it was Uruguay versus Italy.
Oh, I was under
and after that
it was a league match. I thought it was
No, of course not. No. It was Uruguay versus Italy. And that's why he faced a ban of some months. And then he came to Barcelona. Then they hired him.
And there was a nickname also, which we'll not discuss.
Of course. We can discuss later.
Yeah, we can discuss later. Offline.
Right.
Yeah.
So my point being, since this is how big this sport is, these small incidences also become a part of a history.
It becomes headlines.
Indeed. And not just we are still discussing the Hand of God after how many years? Around 40 years, right?
Yeah, almost 40 years.
So, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the history has been very strong of Football World Cup.
And as you said, I remember, I think it was the last World Cup or last World Cup when Brazil did not even qualify for the semis or the finals or something of that sort. They were knocked out. And there are ardent fans of Brazil. I mean, people who absolutely love the country, people who absolutely love the team, the football team. And there were many cases in which people went into shock, people had heart attacks, people were absolutely, they could not believe that Brazil is out of the World Cup. And
that was last World Cup when they lost semi-final against Germany. When Germany won the World Cup.
It was a shocker.
They lost. It was a shocker.
It was a shocker, and it was my goodness. Although I didn't follow it very strictly at that point of time, but I read the news articles, and it was my goodness. I never knew that there are so many fans of football. I mean, so die-hard fans of football. In fact, you are a die-hard fan of football who went to Spain to watch a match.
I hope so. Yeah. I did.
Yeah. So
I hope to go again sometime.
Yeah, but
because you never get enough, right?
yeah, you never get enough. And also, I think the beauty about football is it is a very accessible sport to everyone, and
That's
it
true.
is very
That's
easy
true.
to understand for everyone. So, with that,
That's
let's get on to the World Cup format, World Cup 101.
right.
So,
Right.
how is the World Cup played? How are the matches decided and everything?
Okay. So since we covered how the World Cup is, so the format is basically pretty simple, which is being followed in majority of the World Cup tournaments so far. And this particular format was adopted in this 21st century only, around 98 or I guess,
Okay.
with 32 teams. Because before they've tried so many formats, but this is the format they're sticking to now. So it's a basic format. 32 teams qualify for a World Cup, and these 32 teams are segregated into 8 groups. 8 groups of 4. So that is 8 fours are 36, 32, sorry. And the groups are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So there are 8 groups, the 32 teams. And in each group, every team plays every other three. So for example, there are 4 teams in a group. So one team will play the other respective 3. And whoever scores the maximum points goes into the playoffs.
Okay.
So that's how it works. And the playoffs are the 16 teams from these 32 teams get eliminated. The other 16 go forward in the round of 16. And those are the knockout stages, like round of 16, then quarterfinals, semifinals, and then a final.
Okay.
So I think it's
and
pretty
we
straight
get
up.
points as well. So every team, so like in the Cricket World Cup, what happens is you get points for every match you win. Every match you lose, you don't get points. And every match that is tied, I think equally points are shared. And in cricket, there is one thing known as net run rate. So the rate at which you're
So I
scoring the
think
runs.
this cricket format is very, very new. They've just adopted it some years back only. But the football scoring format has been going on since a long time, and not only in the World Cup, they follow the same point scoring format in their respective leagues as well.
Okay.
It's pretty simple. The team who wins gets 3 points. If they draw, they get a 1 point, and if they lose, they get 0 points. 1 point each.
Okay.
If they draw, because in football there are chances of drawing.
I think maximum number of chances are of draws, because I've seen a lot of matches in which matches go either 1-1 or 0-0 or something of that sort.
Exactly. So these result to a draw, but these draws are only applicable till the group stages, because on knockout the whole point is getting knocked out, right, and progressing ahead. So in knockout, if you don't score, then it goes into extra time and then goes into penalties, and
penalty shootouts, and that's it, ne? Only penalty shootouts we have.
No, after 90 minutes, first the extra time, they get the extra time of 15 minutes each, 2 halves of 15 minutes each. Okay. And then even if they don't score till then it goes into penalty shootout.
Okay, so and penalty shootouts, you get I think 5 tries per side, and you have to score
then again you get initially you get 5 tries, and even after the 5 tries, the match is tied. For example, both the teams have scored 3 penalties. Then it goes on the 6th penalty and the 7th. So
so basically, it should be 1 up.
Again,
you should go 1 up.
Yeah, it should be 1 up.
Okay,
it should be 1 up.
Got it. And it is mandatory in the knockout stage. It is mandatory that one team needs to get knocked out.
Of course, that's how it works, right?
So
I think this is the format.
So we have like from group A till group H, we have that's about 8 groups, if I'm not wrong,
right,
of 4 teams each.
That's right.
And so the groups are decided at random, or there is a specific format followed?
Groups are, I think, best of both, because there are qualifiers happening all over the respective continents. Someone comes from Asia qualifiers, European countries come from UEFA Nation Leagues and Europa qualifiers, and every qualifiers which happen all over. And after these qualifiers, first you have to qualify for the World Cup, and then random draws take place. But they are not very much random, because the teams who top their particular qualifiers, they don't get into the same group.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Otherwise, the group will become too strong.
Exactly. So this is decided that the top team from this will go into this group. But which team, that is not determined. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So it is a mix of both.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, it is random. They put out a pool and there is a draw and everything.
So, of the 8 groups, there must be some groups in which obviously all groups must be having teams which have the most potential. Let's say the strongest team as per their playing standards or the way they have held themselves in the previous World Cups. So, how does it fare this time? And also one more thing,
So
the groups all change every time in the World Cup. It's not mandatory that
of course,
team A, B, C, and D will, if they have been selected in Group A, they'll remain in Group A for the entirety of.
of course not. Of course not. Because there is no entirety, right? You might win this World Cup, but you might not even qualify for the next one.
Oh,
right.
There is a possibility
So
of
you
that.
don't get a.
So it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, and
so,
we will discuss about one particular team who has been very weird and very unpredictable in these last some years. So you'll get to know about this more.
Okay. So so which are the top teams in particular groups which come to you?
So I think let's quickly go through whatever teams are there in every group. So starting from Group A, and one more thing is there, the host country automatically qualifies for that particular World Cup. So of course Qatar is there. Qatar, even if they did not qualify, they are playing this World Cup. That's how it happens.
Yeah,
and when the
it would be very
19...
weird, no? If the host country is not there in the World Cup only.
Yeah. So when the Under-19 Football World Cup happened in India, India was a part of that World Cup.
Yeah, although India never qualified for the FIFA World Cup, the main
officially, technically, but they did put up a fight there. So interesting to see what the future holds.
Okay.
Anyway, let's stick to this World Cup.
Yeah.
So starting from Group A, of course, Qatar is there since they are the host, and Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands is Group A. Group B is England, Iran, USA, and Wales. Group C is Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
Okay.
Group D is France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia.
Okay.
Tunisia. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying any country, however small or big, they can just qualify and come for the World Cup. That's what the beauty.
I never knew Wales also had a football team.
Wales is a pretty good team. Wales has produced some pretty good stars as well in the future. You might have heard of Gareth Bale. He's from Wales.
Oh.
He's a Wales player, yeah. And
Okay. Group D and then E and F.
Right, D is done. Then E is a very interesting group which has Spain, Germany, Costa Rica, and Japan. Then Group F is Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Group G is Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And Group H is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. So these are the teams which have qualified for this World Cup. And there are some pretty interesting groups, I think, which we'll discuss next. Whichever team to look out for.
Because there is also a term which you told me called as group of death. So
yeah, that's right.
What is group of death? It sounds so exciting.
It sounds so exciting. It is very exciting. The group of death consists of whichever group has the most exciting and most strong teams. For example, this year, Group E has Spain as well as Germany there. Group F has Belgium as well as Croatia there. Group H has Portugal and Uruguay. Right? So there are some groups where are 2 or more strong teams. These groups can be called as the group of death because you never know which teams are going to qualify, right?
So Group E, because you said Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Spain and Germany are former champions. Costa Rica.
They are former champions.
Costa Rica is a good team. I know that.
Costa Rica has good potential.
Yeah. Japan has had its ups and downs. I remember it used to be a good team, then it slumped down. Then how is Japan now?
Same. So, the same thing goes, and there is no consistency because there are a couple of good players, but the teams are not run by individual players, right? They need a whole strong squad and good squad depth, good consistency. All these factors make a good team. So, of course, these teams come and go. And then again, we talk about the underdogs, right? So, you never know who is going to come and emerge as an underdog. So, that factor is also there.
Okay.
Yeah, you never know. You never know if like Spain, they beat Spain or Germany and, come out on the top. So you never know.
So you told me about something known as the group of death.
That's right.
What is the group of death? It sounds very interesting.
It is very interesting because as it sounds, the group of death, it refers to a group which has the most tightly packed teams in terms of potential, in terms of popularity, in terms of, a good team. So the more good teams are there in a group, that group is called the group of death.
Okay.
For example, let's talk about this World Cup only. There is my personal favorites too, which I can call as group of death. It's a group E and F. E has Spain, Germany, Japan, and Costa Rica.
Yes.
So then again, Spain and Germany are two big shots there, who have won World Cups before in the past. And then again, Japan and Costa Rica, although don't have that good a team, but of course, they're the upcoming teams. So of course, there are two good teams, then that can be considered as the group of death. And my personal favorite is the group of F, because it has Belgium. Belgium has been one of the highest ranks football teams in the world. Okay. In fact, I think they have the record of being at number 1 for the longest time. In the football rankings. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how, but yeah.
Who is number 1 right now?
Right now it's Brazil.
Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Group F has Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. And so Croatia was in the finals, no? I think
they were in the finals. They were in the finals in the last World Cup against France and Croatia.
And everybody was rooting for Croatia.
Of course, because they were the underdogs, as we were talking about. Yeah, but Croatia has some very amazing players like Luka Modric is there, Rakitic is there, all these players. And then again, Belgium, I told you, is one of the highest ranked teams. Canada is one of the most upcoming teams. Like they have a lot of young potential there right now in their team, and they can, everyone is rooting for them and are eager to watch them. So yeah, this group is also a very interesting group. And then again, Group H also, I think Portugal is there and Uruguay is there.
Okay.
So Portugal has a very good squad depth. They have not been able to prove them since last years. But they were very good in that Euro they won, last Euro. And then of course Uruguay, Uruguay has a history of World Cup wins. It was way back, but of course they still have, right? And they have good potential names like Edison Cavani and Luis Suarez, and some upcoming boys are also there. So yeah, I think these 3 groups, according to me, will be very interesting to watch, and we can term them as the group of death.
So for you, group of death will be
never know.
Group E and F.
For me, Group F. Personally, F. I think if I have to pick one group, my personal favorite. Although Spain and Germany are there in Group E, but F will have a lot of tough competition, I guess, because Morocco is also a good team. Canada is also an upcoming team. All the 4 teams, I think have a good chance of qualifying.
Have good potential of qualifying.
Yeah, have good potential. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know much about Morocco, to be very honest, but I'll take your word for it because you know way more about
because Moroccan players have been up and running. They are doing pretty good in their own particular teams. It will be really interesting to see how they do as a group,
Okay. Yeah. So it should be fun.
It should be a lot of fun. And since it's packed in a 1 month action, so every day there are a lot of fixtures, so there will be a lot of screen lined up.
We are going to be having matches every day. Almost 2 matches every day.
Has to be.
2, 3, 4 matches every day. Yeah, 4 matches every day almost. Nice.
Has to be because there are 32 teams and
and it also it is just within 1 month it has to finish. So
within 1 month, that's right.
It's going to be a lot of
actually fun. That can be a very important factor, and it will be very difficult to determine why, because in this 1 month every team and every player will be tested to the extreme of their abilities, because they'll be tired, they'll suffer from fatigue. They're still coming from a season. They were just playing. They're still playing. Today also there are matches, right?
League matches.
League matches, right? And then they'll directly go now and train for their teams now. So yeah, so to face that and overcome that will also be a big challenge, and then to win. So I think this should be all the more special.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's
Right.
because especially when you have a season which is very compact, uh, normally people don't think of fatigue like it is a deciding factor, but it is. We have seen in the
It
cricket
is
World Cup
100%.
also, when teams have there was, I think, a match in which it was a back-to-back match, and I think Afghanistan was playing, or was it Bangladesh? I don't remember. And the players were visibly tired. They
You're talking
genuinely
about
could.
this World Cup only?
Uh, no, not this World Cup. I think we
Okay.
2021, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So
They had
the
two back-to-back World Cups.
yeah, so the
Yeah.
players were visibly tired, and it was just like they just wanted the match to get over. So
I think they, that fatigue leads to a lot of injuries as well. Because in this World Cup, before even starting, we are seeing, like, even right now, a lot of players are getting injured. That they will not get the chance to play in this coming World Cup. But maybe because of fatigue and playing in and out, like, couple of weeks, a couple of days a week. So, of course, these are a lot of factors. And, after F1, one good thing that football is adopted from F1 is, progressing through analytics. Because before there were very few technological things used in football. But I think they've adopted from F1, and I think I've read an article as well about this.
Okay.
That inspired from F1, they have actually put a lot of effort into analyzing the players' statistics, analytics basically, and going on improving from there. So I think that is also helping a lot. And every other World Cup and every other year now, a new technology is coming. So yeah, I think
I think there is one more technology which was adopted from football to F1, which was VAR, virtual referee system or something.
VAR is there in football. I don't know about F1, is it?
F1 they introduced
interesting.
it this year only, but I have not seen
So I
its
think,
application till now.
but I think VAR will be very interesting to see in F1 as well, because VAR is virtually added a referee, right? So what a referee can't see from their naked eyes, VAR does it for them in football. I don't know about how they'll do in F1.
They said that it was added this year, but I have not seen its utilization till now, to be very honest, because we are still debating why we have not been seeing the VAR.
Because there are already a lot of cameras and everything. There is no virtual referee on the road, right?
So VAR is like third umpire in cricket, somewhat. No.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
that's true. Anyway, coming back now.
Yeah, coming back. So we talked about the group of death, and with the strongest teams in the World Cup, definitely there are teams which are strong, but people don't consider them strong. They're considered the underdogs, like Croatia the last time. Nobody expected Croatia to reach the finals. They reached the finals. And so who do you think are the underdogs for this year's World Cup?
I think this is a very, very tough question to answer right now, because there are a lot of teams which are underdog, even the teams who have been World Cup winners before. There are some underdogs from them as well.
Okay.
All the more because, for example, let's talk about Spain right now. Spain had a tremendous legendary team when they won the World Cup in 2010. They have had all the legends, but all of them have retired now. Only one player is remaining from that squad, that is Sergio Busquets. And they have a whole new team of youngsters and teenagers, 18, 19 years, 20 years, a very new team. So they have a lot of expectations to meet as well, but they don't have any experience. But in the last Euro, they did reach till semi-final with their youngest team. So I think there will be underdogs, but there will be these kind of teams who we will look for as well. And underdogs, I think I can sum up in every group. I think I can sum up one underdog. So I think that will be a very huge list. But for me, I think if I had to pick one team, I think underdogs can be Senegal this time. Because Senegal is in Group A. I think the underdogs can be those teams who can go the most further as well, I think. So when we talk about Group A, there is Qatar, there is Ecuador, there is Senegal, and there is Netherlands, right? So other than Netherlands, other three have not shown that much potential till now in football. And of course, Qatar is of course being a host team, but they being the host, they're there. But Senegal has quite good names now. Like they have pretty good Sadio Mane is there. and Mendy is there, and Gueye is there. Like other names are also there, and they play in very good teams in their respective leagues. So I think they have a pretty good team, and if they play their cards right, I think they can, at least reach till quarterfinals, if not before that.
Okay,
So I think if I had to pick one team right now,
Senegal.
I think it can be Senegal for me. Yeah, real underdogs.
I like how Senegal is also pronounced. So I like the pronunciation of Senegal. I like that. So yeah, I would love Senegal to be the underdogs,
and of course, I think underdogs are the team which we don't predict, and that comes forward. I think
Croatia,
that team
biggest. So every time,
but Croatia did have some good names right now. As well, Modric was player of the series in 2018, but no one ever saw them play that good football in a team. So I think that's what surprised everyone. They had pretty good names. So there are a lot of teams which have pretty good names right now, but you never know how they perform in their national teams unless they do it right.
Correct. Because in the leagues it is something else, but to gel up as a national team, it's completely different.
That's true.
Now the underdogs are the ones which are least expected to come up, but I'm pretty sure there are teams which are missing from this World Cup.
Yeah, and I think we should talk about them.
And which are those teams? Are there big upsets? Some teams which should have been
there. Yeah. So I think, although since we discussed how this World Cup is going to be so interesting because of a lot of new changes and a lot of new teams coming up, but then again, sadly, the teams who did not qualify, unfortunately for us, it is less football, right? So I think the biggest upset is Italy. Italy is not in the 2020 World Cup.
Italy is not there?
Italy is not there. You check your groups, it's not there.
Seriously?
I think it's a shocker for you. It's not a shocker for us. And you remember we were discussing in the start
Italy
that
won also,
there is one team. I'm coming to that. That's what I told you. You never know the team who wins before comes in the next World Cup because there is no quota for that, right? Okay, I think you need to come back now.
Okay, Italy is not.
You're the biggest. You look like a biggest Italy supporter right now.
No, I'm not an Italian supporter, but take it.
Of Napoli. Yeah. Yeah. I think you should cut this.
Take it. Wait, Italy is not there in the World Cup. Okay, interesting.
I'll let you process this. So when we let's talk about Italy for a bit. They have been the most weird teams in these last some years. They did not qualify for the 2018 World Cup as well. And this is the second time they are not qualifying consecutively. And the interesting part, the funny bit is they didn't qualify for 2018. They won the Euro Cup in 2020. And they did not qualify again for the World
Cup. How do you win the Euro Cup in 2020 but not qualify for 2022 FIFA World Cup? How does that happen?
I'll tell you why.
Because drunk on pasta?
All these maybe you don't know, right? Because you remember, as you also remembered that they won, right? So the Euro 2020, which held in 21 because of the pandemic, they won to England in the final, and they were absolutely brilliant in the tournament. They had a streak of 34-35 unbeaten games before that, but they could not do well in the World Cup qualifiers. So all these tournaments are separate entity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That even if you win a Euro, it's not absolute that you go into the next tournament, because Euro is held by UEFA and this is held by FIFA. And all these things are also there, right?
Because
these are separate commodities.
Unlike the ICC World Cup, in which teams automatically get qualified because of their ranking or because they're they're hosting the World Cup, that's a different thing. But because of their ranking or because of they winning the World Cup in the previous years or something of that sort. So I did not know that.
So I think since I told you, there is a lot of competition here because there are more than 79 teams which have participated all over. There is a lot of tough competition, and it will not be fair to the new teams in the upcoming and the really good football playing teams, that these teams get to qualify because of their ranking overall, ranking and their past, right?
That's very
so every
fair.
year, that's very fair. And every year these teams get a chance to play qualifiers. You win the qualifiers, you go through, right? That's how it works. And they've not been able to prove them since the last 2 World Cups in the qualifiers, which is really misfortunate, I think, because Italy plays some wonderful football and they've won World Cups. They've won 4 World Cups, as we discussed, right? So yeah.
Shocking.
So I think let's come back from the shocker of Italy. And I think
Italy is gone. Yeah. Any other team which is missing?
Teams. Yeah, of course, Russia is not there because
Russia,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Right. Another good team which is not there is Sweden. They were also not able to qualify, which has had some good names before, like Ibrahimovic, you must have heard. And they've played some pretty good football. Colombia is not there. Chile is not there. Nigeria has some really good footballers. It's not there. Egypt is an upcoming team. So I think we did miss out on a lot of teams as well.
Colombia is a football playing nation. It's a very, football is like for Brazil, football is like one of the main sports.
Right.
Colombia also football. And in fact, I think...
Even Chile.
Yeah, because South America, it's all football only. It is all
it's
football.
It's a mecca of football, yeah.
Yeah. So surprising to not see Chile and Colombia and Venezuela is also not there, if I'm not wrong.
Venezuela is not there, I think, in this world. I don't think so.
Yeah, Venezuela is also not there. Venezuela Venezuela also plays good World Cup, good football.
Yeah. And I think the reason being is now there is a lot of awareness now. And since you've seen a lot of new teams have come in now, US is doing pretty good now. Canada is doing pretty good. A lot of African teams have come up. They are playing amazing football throughout. So, there is a lot of competition now. So these South American teams will also have to buck up now,
So just because you play a lot of football doesn't mean that you will get automatically qualified. You need to show your mettle.
Of course not. I think it's fair enough. Yeah,
it's fair. Egypt also, I mean, it's not like a World Cup winning squad or that sorts in the past, but it plays decent football. So
it has a lot of decent coming players now, and you must have heard of Mohamed Salah. He plays for Liverpool. Yeah, so he's from Egypt and he has been a star. He is a player right now.
And Egypt is not
there. There are a lot of upcoming names. Not right.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah. But okay. Now, let's get aside from the sad bit of it. Okay.
Right. Because of course, eventually there is only one team winning, right? So can't be sad about it.
Yeah.
And I think we should just want to watch some good sport.
Yeah, we just want to watch good sport. We just want to
watch
good football. And
as we say in the F1 terms as well.
Yeah.
That, whoever wins, after some time, of course, whoever wins, we just want a good race,
Yeah. We're just here to see the race. We're just here to see good sport.
Just here to see the race.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll even forget that Checo and Hamilton and who was the Leclerc? The three, the historic moment which happened in this season. They all were competing for the second position, I guess.
Yeah, Checo,
Leclerc,
George and
even George was there, yeah.
And Carlos Sainz. No, Lewis was not there in the equation for the first time.
No, Hamilton went through, the famous dialogue Hamilton goes through.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Silverstone. Second position.
I'm talking about Silverstone. That's right.
I thought you were talking about the standings. Okay, that was amazing. That Silverstone was a really nice.
Yeah, so I think in F1 also we have some particular incident which latch throughout. We'll always remember.
Yes.
So anyway, I think we should also bring F1 a little. It's okay because your main focus is F1. So I think it's.
No, it is. I always do tend to migrate towards F1 slowly.
Of course,
in any and every conversation. So that happens a lot.
Same goes with me as football, right?
Yeah. And now we have talked about underdogs. We have talked about missing teams. Let's step away from the teams and let's go to the individuals. Yeah. So we do have players to watch for. And any particular players that come into your mind?
A lot of them. Like when you talk about player of the tournament, right? The last player of the tournament was from Croatia. That was Modric. And before that is Lionel
Hmm.
in the 14 World Cup when Argentina reached the finals. So there are a lot of football has been played by great football has been played by these individuals as well. And of course, although it's a team sport, a lot of things will be dependent on a lot of players. So when you ask me which players are to watch out for, I have some names in my mind. I think I'll tell you some names, but at the end I'll tell you a name which will, I think, surprise you that which player I'm rooting for, and it's not Lionel.
Okay.
Spoiler.
Okay.
So I think some players to watch out for. I think Kylian Mbappe is there. He's a pretty young talent now, and now he's making his room now in the French team, and he has proven himself in the last World Cup. France won the last World Cup, and his team as well. So I think he is the one to watch. Neymar has come back in a form, and Brazil is doing really good, and they've of course in number one right now in the rankings. And similarly, Vinicius Junior is also there. He is also upcoming Brazil player. He plays for Real Madrid right now. He's doing pretty good.
Okay.
And then Harry Kane is there. He's an English player, and England team did reach to the finals in the Euro last year, and he was the top scorer in the last World Cup, Harry Kane. So he's also a pretty amazing striker. Okay. So all these players are there. But I think my favorite, and the player which I'll be rooting for this season is going to be Karim Benzema.
Karim Benzema?
Yeah. Have you heard about him?
No. To be honest, no.
Okay. So let me brief you a little about him. So Karim Benzema is a French international. Okay. He plays for Real Madrid. He plays as a striker for Real Madrid. Benzema. And he has been there from a long time, since Ronaldo was also there. But he never got that limelight because, Ronaldo was there and other big names were also there. But after CR7 left, he did prove himself and he has a lot of potential. And everyone thought he's finished now. But he did come back. He did carry Madrid. Now, so Madrid is a good team. But he did carry them for a long time. He plays beautiful football. And because of his good performance last year, he won the Ballon d'Or this year.
Oh.
Yeah. And he is above...
because I
you must have heard about him.
Esteban Ocon took the Ballon d'Or on a Formula 1 car.
That's right. And now you can relate. Huh?
They were talking about it, that the Ballon d'Or has come to France.
That's right.
Come back to France.
Right. So, since Ocon being a Frenchman, and Ballon d'Or is a French award. It was going to a Frenchman. So, everything synced this time. That's why.
And also French Formula 1 team as well. So
of course.
Alpine.
All the things.
Yeah. So it was entire France. Yeah.
It was the entire France. And this guy, everyone thought, just like Dinesh Karthik in cricket. So this guy is the underdog as an individual.
Oh.
So everyone thought that he's finished because he's above 30, 32. And he's a striker. So for a striker, playing to the best of his abilities at this age is very difficult. But he came back. He was the Golden Boot last season. He won the Champions League, the league, everything. And he came back to the French team. He was not there in the last winning team, the World Cup team. He came back this last Euro. He's still selected for the French team. And he's doing pretty amazing for himself in this age. So that tells you age is just a number. Yeah. And he won the Ballon d'Or. I think that sums up.
That just puts
and well deserved that too. Well deserved.
Yeah.
And me talking about him, since he's from Real Madrid, like a direct rival team. Talking about him, I think
you're a Barca
he absolutely fan. Of course, but then again, if a player plays good, you should not shy out from,
correct.
praising them.
Yeah.
So I think I am watching out for him. And the front of France is Benzema and Mbappe. They both have been in pretty top form, so that will be very interesting to watch. Let's see how France does this time. They are the defending champions.
Yeah. So there is no such thing like it's not unheard of that the defending champions lose. So it has happened that the defending champions also have won the World Cup again. So repeat champions have happened.
Uruguay, the first World Cup event which happened in 1930, and then again after 34, both was won by Uruguay.
Okay.
And I think Brazil have won 2 consecutive, if I'm not wrong. Other than that, no one has, won.
There has not been a three-peat. Only repeats have been there.
Not yet.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if France repeats.
You never know.
You
They have
never
got a
know.
pretty good team.
Hmm.
They have got such a good team that they could have created 3 different squads from their squad depth. And a lot of big names have not, because they had to pick only 26 players, right? So a lot of
Including
big
the
names have not
extras and
been put,
everyone.
including everyone. Like you have to present a 26, and I think 15th is the final date to submit your World Cup squad. So you have to submit a 26-man squad
Okay.
for the team. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, France has a lot of potential, but then again, history has proven that just you don't go ahead just with the potential. You need a lot of other stuff than that.
Everything needs
Which
to
Argentina
fit into
proved.
place.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is also going to be the last World Cup for a lot of legends.
That's true.
Sad, but well, you have to move on. Things do come to an end.
I think it can be. Let's not say it will be, because of course still there are no confirmations.
Yeah, correct.
We can't say, and we wish everyone plays till the best of their abilities. But of course, a lot of legends, let's say, are aging from, they've been in the squads. For example, if we talk about the 2 ultimate legends, that is the Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, they'll be appearing, both of them, in their 5th World Cup. So, like every 4 years there's a World Cup. So from the last 20 years, they're representing their countries. 20 years. So I think that is a record in itself. Since 2020.
Yeah.
2002.
2002.
Since Brazil won.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Goodness. They have been.
Yeah.
But when you look at them, it doesn't feel like they're old. They don't look old at all.
And that's why they get selected. You know what I mean? That's why they're getting selected for teams, because they still play to their best of abilities, and they still play like a 22-year-old kid, right? And that's why I think they get selected, not because of their history,
not just because of their name,
their fame.
Yeah,
definitely, because there are a lot of big names which dropped out also in this year. Every squad's depth, because Spain does not have a lot of big names right now. France does not have a lot of big names. England does not have. So that shows that you really need to up your game to be that 26-man squad, right? So I think if you talk about some players who can be representing their country for the last time in the World Cup, can be, of course, Messi, Ronaldo. Because Benzema is also there. We never know. He's still a little young. For Spain, it's Sergio Busquets. He was there in the 2010 winning team. He's the only member remaining from it. Pepe is there. Pepe is a legendary defender from Portugal, who is known for his, aggressive play. You must have heard of him, his name. You used to follow Portugal, right?
Yes.
And Thiago Silva is a defender from Brazil. He's also 37, 38, but he's still representing now.
38?
He's still selected. Yeah, Dani Alves has been selected. He's 39 for Brazil.
Neymar is also around in the 30s, no?
Neymar is in 30s, but he's
young.
Still has... if he carries his form, you never know. He can represent for another World Cup. But these guys are at the peak of their, career. And I think this could be these legends' last World Cup. And you never know how many players retire after that. Yeah. We can only wish,
Yeah. But injuries, health issues, other personal issues, lot of things keep happening.
True.
You never know.
That's right.
Unpredictable.
So this World Cup will be different in a lot of ways then. You'll see a lot of names playing for the last time.
Yeah. Possibly for the last time.
Possibly.
So now we are done with the last World Cup for a certain number of players. Now let's come towards the end of this podcast. So we always like to end with predictions.
So I think now I should ask you questions.
Yeah.
So who do you think will win this World Cup? What are your predictions? And then we'll discuss it.
Okay, so I'll be very honest. I have not been following football as you have been following. So this is going to be absolutely blind guess. Okay.
That's why it's a prediction, right?
Yeah. So I would go for Argentina to win the World Cup.
Good answer.
Because what we discussed previously, they won I think Copa America, if it is not called. It's called, right? Copa America, right. They won a few other regional series as well. And
they were going for a winning streak. They won around 30-32 matches in a row.
And
they did not lose actually.
And the team is really strong, and Messi is on top of his game, even though he's not the youngest of players. So
sure.
I have a gut feeling that Argentina is going to win this World Cup. That's
and who do you think? And one more prediction I'll ask you, and then I'll tell. So who do you think will be the most outstanding player of the Golden Ball, whoever we call, like the player of the tournament?
Player of the tournament.
Who will come out? Who do you think?
Player of the tournament.
Whoever comes to your mind, like.
I don't know. For some reason, it's a tie between Messi and Neymar Jr. I don't know why. So that a tie between these two. I was just a gut feeling, and again, I have not watched any matches. So either this can age like wine and be amazing, or age like milk and it will be just horrible like anything. So,
but I think you, being a football newbie, you gave pretty good answers. Like Argentina has a very good chance, and these two players also have a very good chance to go for the Golden Ball. So good guesses.
But these are the two names which are the most famous. So that's how I selected them. Apart from that, whom do you think is going to go for the Golden Boot?
So for me,
glove,
that's right.
Golden Ball and the World Cup winner. So we'll start with Golden Boot.
Sure.
And what is Golden Boot?
Golden Boot is, so I'll tell you all the three awards. So there are other awards as well, like the Young Player Award and the Most Fair Play Team Award, but we won't discuss that. The three most prestigious individual awards are Golden Ball, which is player of the tournament, Golden Boot, which is the player who has scored most goals in that tournament, and the Golden Glove, the best keeper in the whole tournament, right?
Okay.
So I think we'll start with the Golden Ball, who can be the player of tournament. So I think I'll agree with you, and I'll go with Neymar. Why? Because he has been in a tremendous good form, and him and Messi both were not even shortlisted in the last Ballon d'Or shortlist. And after that, these two are just exploding. They're just playing amazing for their PSG team.
Yeah.
And I think Neymar is an all-round player. I'm selecting him as a player of the tournament because he's an all-rounder player. He gives good assists as well. He scores some beautiful goals as well. So I think for me, I think Neymar can actually do really good as a Golden Ball player, as a player of the tournament. Golden Boot for me can be Kylian Mbappe.